10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and local partner Sprocket Innovation in Paducah, and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. As we are moving towards the home stretch of 2022, I want to take a second to look back at some of the trends of what's happened in 2022 and perhaps what we can plan for going into 2023. There's a lot of different trends that we've talked about on here at 10 at 10, and there's a couple of things that I want us to think about, that I want us to consider, and a couple things that I think can help us as we plan for security in the coming year. And let me say that I'm going to start this conversation today, but really continue it for the next couple of weeks as well. And probably the biggest trend that happened was ransomware. Ransomware, I say that happened in 2022. It's not just ransomware in 2022. It's been building for a little bit for the last few years, but there are some things that we can learn from these trends in ransomware. If you think back even last year in 2021, we had the Colonial Pipeline, a couple of other high-profile ransomware attacks, and what we have seen, even with the Ukrainian invasion by Russia, and some of these larger cyber issues, is that ransomware is still a really big problem and a growing problem. But right now, we're seeing a bit of a plateau on that problem, on ransomware. It's still massive. It's still larger this year than it's been in any other year. It's still going to be a continued problem in the future. But I want to look at a couple of things with ransomware to kind of give you an idea of where I think we're at, what folks are looking at, and maybe where we can think about issues in the future as well. And first of all, Coveware is an organization that I learned about a month ago, actually, but is a company that has been around for a while. But they track trends, among other things, in ransomware. And this is a chart that they've shown that goes back to 2018, fourth quarter 2018, and it shows the attack vector for ransomware attacks. Now, attack vector means how did they get the ransomware into your organization? How did they get it into your network? I don't want to necessarily spend a lot of time going through all of the specific what each of these mean, but I want you to see a couple of overarching trends on this chart. First of all, back in 2018, the overwhelming threat or the attack vector was RDP compromise. RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol. That probably, you clicked the link that you shouldn't have clicked. That was the easy way for people to get in. It always worked. You go to a website, you click a link, you do something in an email, you click a link, whatever it might be. It was really easy to get Remote Desktop Protocol RDP compromise. If you look at those trends, yes, RDP has come down, but now all of them, except for the internal issue, which is at the very bottom, which is hovered around 0% each quarter, they're all about the same, give or take a little bit. And the point with that is these ransomware gangs, these organizations that distribute ransomware, and it's really ransomware as a service now, they're trying to make money. They're looking at this as a money-making opportunity. It's despicable, it's horrible, it's illegal, it's shady as all get out, but they're viewing this as a money-making opportunity. So if one door shuts, then they need to try a different door or a window. So what you're seeing through the third quarter of 2022 is that the attack vector is changing because these criminals have to make sure they're successful and that they get you infected with ransomware. So I think that's important that the attack vector, I still, we still have to protect our people. We still have to watch our emails. We still have to make sure we update software. We have to do all these things that we continue to talk about on 10 at 10 and other cybersecurity professionals are going to tell you all the time. But we do have to make sure that we are addressing all of these different issues. What else can we learn? Well, they also share ransom payments by quarter, and there was a dip. We're down from our peak on the number or the amount of ransomware payment, but it's going back up. What should be noted, and I think it's on the next slide, is that we also are we're off the peak on total attacks, and we're also off the peak on number of people paying. So there are fewer payers right now than there have been. There are fewer payers um, uh, for a number of reasons. Part of that, in North Carolina and Florida, it's actually illegal. The states have passed laws that say you cannot pay a make a ransomware payment. So there's some organization or some states that will not let you do that altogether. So that makes that the number of payments go down, but the price is inching up. The average ransomware payment, which is the average of all payers that Coveware has access to, is 258,000. There's another insurance provider that had a number that came out that was 255,000. So that number's pretty consistent. But the median payment is 41. So that's right in the middle of the same number of people that are above that and below that. The 258 can be skewed because some of the really high payments, like even the Colonial Pipeline payment would have skewed that. Obviously, that wasn't this past quarter, but something like that would skew that number. So, if you're thinking about your business, if you're an average business, $42,000 is going to be your ransomware payment, and that's less than 30% of the overall cost of recovering. So at least 3 times that number. So you're talking 120, probably to $150,000 in cost to recover if your organization, at a bare minimum, gets hit with ransomware. So it's still a real problem. It's a real challenge and something that we need to keep aware of. But know that the number of payers is going down, and I do think that's in part for a couple of things. One, organizations are listening to the warning and doing backups the way they're supposed to. And I think it's, as I mentioned, some of the legal issues, and there's such public pressure to not pay. So I think that has something to do with it as well. And then here's as I mentioned, total ransom incidents. Since March, April, it's down from the peak. There's some forecast that it's going to plateau a little bit, but not be at where the peak is. Is that what's going to happen? I don't know. Here's what I think. Well, let me first of all ask you the question: is all of this good or bad? And I think it is good, and I think it is bad, and I think that there's a lot of unknown. But here's what I really want to go back and reinforce today. Cyber criminals are in this cyber crime business to make money. We're not going to be able to eliminate ransomware. It's still going to be around. It's not going anywhere. But what the criminal organizations are going to do is to change the way they do their business to make sure they continue to make money. So just like a business would alter their product to make it more lucrative in the work or in the marketplace, these criminal organizations are going to do the same thing. So if you're looking at what you need to do as an organization to stop these criminals, yes, Doing those things to shore up ransomware, absolutely. Backups, absolutely. But if they're not doing ransomware, they're probably going to try to do something else. So we can't say I've successfully stopped ransomware, so I'm done. No, it's not. First of all, ransomware is going to get more clever. It's going to continue to be a problem. It's not decreased a great deal. It's still higher this past quarter than it was any quarter last year in 2021. So it's still a problem. It's still going to be an issue, and we still have to make sure we stop it. Now, what else do we need to stop? Well, stay tuned to next week and even the next few weeks, and we'll talk about some of those other attack vectors that or attack avenues that these criminals might use and how to stop that as well. So thank you for joining in today on 10 at 10. I appreciate it. I hope you learned something. I hope you saw that these trends are somewhat positive, but also don't misunderstand them. It's not going away anytime soon. This is still a problem that we'll continue to have, and we'll talk about what to do next week on 10 at 10. Thank you very much. Have a good day.